Hi, this is Connie. Today's recipe is for a basic staple found in many households, spaghetti and meatballs marinara. But this recipe has a secret and unique ingredient for making meatballs.
And hi, this is Vince. Welcome to our channel, A Quick Recipe.
The entire list of ingredients will be available later. Feel free to pause the video and make notes as we go along.
And please comment or suggest a recipe you'd like to see us do.
We're going to start with making our meatballs. The first step is to add all of the dry ingredients in a large bowl, except for the meat. That includes 2.5 teaspoons of kosher salt, 3/4 of a teaspoon of coarse ground black pepper, and 3/4 of a cup of breadcrumbs. We're using panko breadcrumbs, but plain breadcrumbs will work. And finally, 1/2 cup of grated parmesan cheese. Now for the wet ingredients. Add 4 medium-sized eggs that are thoroughly mixed. And 6 teaspoons of ice-cold water, that's 1/3 of a cup, which helps to keep your meatballs moist and from drying out during cooking. And now the secret ingredient, 1/2 cup of whole milk ricotta cheese. Plus 1/2 cup each of finely chopped fresh basil and straight Italian parsley. Now mix everything well. It's time to add 1 pound of ground pork and 1 pound of ground chuck. Chuck has a greater fat content, which means that the meatballs will hold together better than a leaner cut. After thoroughly mixing the wet and dry ingredients with the meat, we're going to form our meatballs. We're using an ice cream scoop to measure the meatballs, which gives us a meatball that is pretty uniform in size, about 1 1/3 ounces each. And then they're going to be rolled in flour. The starch in the flour will caramelize quickly and brown the meat, giving it a deep color and added flavor. To make it easier to brown without sticking, use a non-stick or cast iron pan and add about 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Place the meatballs so that there's enough space around each one to allow them to brown evenly. But at the same time, remember that we're going to finish cooking them in the sauce, so we don't want to cook them completely. Now that the water is taking on temp and we're about to start the sauce, we're adding salt to the pasta water. Now it's time to start the marinara sauce. Add enough extra virgin olive oil to cover the bottom of a large saucepan that has been heated to low-medium temp. Now add 7 cloves of chopped fresh garlic. Make sure to only lightly brown the garlic. Overly sautéed garlic becomes very bitter. The tomatoes are next. We're using 28 ounces of peeled San Marzano tomatoes, which we've pureed. A simple tomato sauce also works as well, because we're making a marinara sauce, which is a lighter and less complex pasta sauce. Now we add 3 ounces of tomato paste. Normally we use 6 ounces with our red sauces, but again, this is a marinara sauce, which is lighter and not as heavy as the normal spaghetti sauce. 1 teaspoon each of oregano and dried Italian herbs. Start the seasoning. Now add an optional ingredient for a little more flavor depth. Those cheese rinds that you've saved from Parmesan or Romano block cheese. And 2.5 teaspoons of kosher salt, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of coarse black pepper. For additional complexity of flavor, add 1/2 cup of dry white wine. It really adds some distinct character to the sauce. And now we're going to introduce the partially cooked meatballs to the sauce, so that the meat can regain temperature at complete cooking. We're going to cover the pan, and let it simmer for about 15 minutes under low-medium heat. Take a moment to subscribe to our quick recipe channel, and give us a like.
It makes it possible to create more episodes for you.
Now that the sauce is simmering, we're dropping the pasta, making sure that it's fully in the water, cooking it to al dente, or firm to the bite, without being hard or grainy. Here's the list of ingredients for the spaghetti and meatballs marinara. This is what you'll need for about 24 meatballs. 1 pound each of ground pork, and of ground beef, preferably chuck. 2.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. 3/4 of a teaspoon of coarse black pepper. 3/4 of a cup of plain breadcrumbs. Half cup of grated parmesan cheese. 4 medium-sized eggs. Half cup of ice-cold water. A half cup of whole milk ricotta cheese. A half cup of both fresh basil and parsley chopped. And half cup of all-purpose flour. And for the marinara sauce, extra virgin olive oil. 7 cloves of fresh garlic chopped. 28 ounces of tomatoes, either San Marzanos pureed or a simple tomato sauce. 3 ounces of tomato paste. 1 teaspoon each of dried oregano and dried Italian herbs. Kosher salt and coarse black pepper to taste. And if you like to try something different, the option of adding the rinds from Parmesan or Romano cheese. And of course, 1 pound of spaghetti, but our preference is bucatini.
You can review the list in the Show More section below. Plus there's a download link there also for the entire recipe. Now it's time to enjoy this basic pasta treat. And finish it off with some freshly grated Parmesan or Romano cheese.
Bon appétit! Here are a few more tips and recipes that you may find interesting. Also, check out our website, aquickrecipe.com, for more interesting cooking ideas.
Thanks for watching. See you next time on our YouTube channel, A Quick Recipe.